2024 NFL Draft, shocking. Caleb Williams, number 1 pick. I think we all saw that coming. Is he Chicago's savior? Tyler, what do you think?
I think definitely the weapons are there. With Romo Dunze, I think that was a great pick there. He fell at number 9. We'll talk about another pick. What Atlanta did. That was head
Yeah,
scratching for sure. What they did. They also have Keenan Allen. He's coming off one of his best performances, and then they also have DJ Moore too, a guy that no one really talks about. And you have a really good tight end too with Cole Kmet. So he has all the pieces. So I think that Caleb Williams. I think. If you're looking at quarterback wise, I think that he's definitely got the roster built for success. And the defense got stronger in the offseason too. It's definitely the NFC North. If you really look at it, I think that the Lions are still the team to beat. Vikings, I think that they're probably a couple of years away with J.J. McCarthy. And then with Jordan Love and the Packers, they added Josh Jacobs in the offseason. So we'll see how that plays out. Yeah, I think that the Bears, they definitely have definitely the offense is better than it was a year ago. So I think that Caleb Williams, as long as he plays like he did at least in his first year at USC and his first year at Oklahoma, he'll do fine.
What didn't they also sign DeAndre Swift from the
Yeah,
Rams?
they did.
Yeah, so I saw a statement made today that the Bears have a Ferrari and they're handing Caleb Williams the keys. I was like, I think that might be an accurate statement, but I think their over under is set at like 9 wins already. Like, come on.
Mm,
Let's give the guy, I mean, I guess that's 500 in the NFL, right? One game over
And that
500.
division's kind of wide open, right? I mean, the Detroit Lions made a big leap, but by no means have they like ran away with the division. I don't think. And the Packers kind of were a young upstart team last year. Can they continue the momentum? So Chicago could jump in there. I mean, Minnesota could fall to 4th in the division real fast.
Yeah, JJ McCarthy's got big shoes to fill. That I was, I think we all kind of knew they were going to take him, but it's still just is like, how do you think that fares for like Justin Jefferson, fantasy wise next year?
not good.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get the ball and he's going to catch it, but I feel like he's going to have to rely on all of those acrobatic catches. And I think more of the impact will be that the Vikings will be playing from behind a lot.
Yeah.
So they will be throwing the ball a lot, which is great for Jefferson, but they also might just be trying to force it to him. I think he'll still be a very reliable top 3 option, but I wouldn't say he's the consensus number 1. I would look at some guys that have more veteran quarterback situations. We say it every year, Jamar Chase. I don't know if he's going to make that.
Look at us. We're not even in May, and we're already talking about fantasy football. Like fantasy football corner won't
I play
start
year round.
July, so can we like hold this?
I play year round, baby. Dynasty.
All right, yeah. You
Yeah, I
always talk
mean,
about dynasty, so
the
NFL draft's my favorite time.
Yeah. We got to talk surprise pick with Michael Penix being drafted by the Falcons. Was that the quote unquote, maybe you look back at when Green Bay drafted Jordan Love while Aaron Rodgers was still there, and everybody's like, what are they doing? But now look at them. It's like, hey, they don't look so stupid, right? So,
but Kirk Cousins' situation is a little different. I mean, they just signed him to a 4-year deal. I mean, it's not like he's he's starting the final year of a 4-year contract. I mean, they just signed him to a 4-year deal. So it's a big waste of money. They're investing in the future, which, I just don't think is smart right now in today's NFL. I think that Penix will ultimately be a guy that either sits the bench or he's in a blockbuster trade for somebody with the Falcons. I mean, there could be a chance there, and the Falcons are really just throwing all their eggs in to see what they can get. I mean, they're the NFC South, as we all know, is pretty pitiful. So it's anybody's shot there for who's going to pull it out, besides maybe Carolina. Sorry, Wade, but it's could be anybody's game. So I mean, they're just preparing for the future, and think about all the quarterback injuries that we had last season too, and all the guys that went down. So Penix might have a chance. I mean, if Cousins goes down, he's probably the next guy up.
He's also coming off his Achilles injury. Not a great look if your management signing this guy for $190 million, saying, "Oh, we're also going to draft the Heisman front runner or Heisman runner up to kind of push you a little bit." He's probably sitting around like, "Okay, great." You spoke of the NFC South right when I was ready to just write them off and be done with them and never cheer for the Saints again. They go inside my boy Spencer Rattler.
Is he your boy?
I like him. It's just something about him. I hated him when LSU played him, obviously. But I think it's a good pick in 5th round. What, pick 150? Like,
It was good value.
Freaking Nathan Peterman is not going to do anything. All the man, you might as well just leave him on scout team to practice the DB's interceptions, right?
Him and Kellen Mond.
Kellen Mond. I mean, all he's going to do is he's going to take a knee at the 50-yard line. He's not going to be called down, right? That he's going to run around and go for 7 overtimes. And then what's his face? Jake Haener, who weighs 110 pounds. He's got to take PEDs every day just to get up to 130 pounds. He's going to get broken in half the first sack he takes, right? So I think Spencer Rattler, out of those 4 or 3 quarterbacks I just named, has the highest upside to take Derek Carr's job about week 6 of the season after they fired Dennis Allen, and Carr sits the bench for the rest of his contract, and it's the Spencer Rattler show. That's just my take. I don't know, Tyler, Wade, you Saints fans, Jacob, you're Patriots. We can talk about that QB situation. What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's some upside with it. I mean, he showed some spurts in college. I mean, he wasn't like all this like flashy quarterback that you saw in every game. Like the Tennessee game is like his peak game that he had in college. But yeah, the arm talent is definitely there. We'll see. I mean, like Chet mentioned, I don't think that it's going to be like a start away situation. I think that Derek Carr will probably get it, but we saw injuries with Derek Carr, so we could see Spencer Rattler come in. You don't have Jameis Winston anymore, and like who else do you trust? Like you don't trust Jake Haener. You're not going to trust Nathan Peterman to step up for you. So I think that this is definitely a luxury. You definitely needed a good, valuable quarterback. So I think this, well, I'm not going to say it was a steal of the draft or anything. I don't think that he's going to have like a very like Hall of Fame career. But I do think what you lost with Jameis Winston, this is just a nice thing to have coming off the bench.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of quarterbacks, Futch, the Patriots drafting Drake May at 3rd and then grabbing Joe Milton later in the draft. Wade, you weren't a huge fan of that decision just because of kind of the message it sends to Drake May, right?
Yeah. I would have held off there for sure because, like, you're drafting a guy at best that could be like a project quarterback to be your backup, but he also has the strongest arm in the draft class. So on the off chance that you hit with him, you kind of enter that Kirk Cousins RG3 situation where the guy drafted later becomes your quarterback. I think that's a very rare situation. And at the end of the day, if he does that, then you have a starter one way or another, kind of like Brock Purdy and Trey Lance too. But I would have probably stayed away from that and kind of taken the approach that Washington took. If you're going to do it, they added Sam Hartman after the draft, kind of a guy that has a higher upside probably a higher, probably a lower ceiling, but a higher floor. Like, he's going to be a decent pro style quarterback, but you don't have to worry about him like
competing
rushing
for the job.
Jaden Daniels along or something. Like, he'd be a good compliment.
I think it's a good the Washington move. I think was smart because based on what we've seen from Jaden Daniels just at LSU, the man likes to take shots over the middle when he's scrambling. So in the off chance, knock on wood, hope this doesn't happen, that he gets hurt, knocked out of a game, you've got, like you said, a competent quarterback in Sam Hartman. Which, by the way, what happened to him? He was like a Heisman favorite at the beginning of the season, and
he's old and teams knew they could get him for cheap in the undrafted free agency.
Yeah, no, he kind of just fell off there. I was surprised to see like that he didn't even get drafted, and that they picked him up for free agency. But Jacob, back to your Patriots. How are you feeling about the next Tom Brady?
There will never be another Tom Brady. I'm sorry, guys, but so I
It's the
actually
dynasty renewed now. Is this the new
With Jared
takeover?
Mayo.
no that there won't be another dynasty for a long time. Uh, I like the move taking Milton and May, and here's why. The Patriots have this situation there where they really don't have a go-to quarterback. I mean, you had Mac Jones, who ultimately didn't pan out, and he's, was never the
He's
answer.
Jacksonville now, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's holding a clipboard.
Right
Yeah.
behind Trevor.
You had Bailey Zappi holding it down for a while, and Bailey Zappi's not the answer either in New England. I think we all know that. So they're really, I think, investing in the fact that they're going to give both guys a shot. I think going in, I think everybody knows that Drake May is going to be the starter. As far as being able to run different schemes, different plays, I mean, Milton has legs versus Drake May, and I think that gives some upside there. Because I mean, the Patriots have never really had the opportunity to have a running quarterback, and I think that gives them an option there if they want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
May's definitely the starter though, but I like them taking both of them, and I think they actually drafted really well. I was really surprised at how well the Patriots drafted. They went offense heavy, and they had to. I mean, based off of last season, uh, one of the worst teams in offensive production all year. I think they really answered a lot of questions there. Big pickups from Florida State, Bell, tight end, which is going to be a really, really good one to learn under Hunter Henry. Uh, Jalen Polk was a big one from Washington. They took him pretty early, but a big receiver, I think, that can go and get a ball, and they really need a guy who they can rely on because they just don't have anybody right now. So I think they probably could have taken a running back. That was the only thing that I thought was interesting, that they didn't take a running back because they've
They still have
struggled.
Stevenson there, huh? Or did it?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is. Yeah. He had a rough year last year, and they
Well,
just kind of couldn't
They're just a
figure
bad
it out.
offense, though. Well, they
Yeah.
cannot move the ball like anything.
Yeah. Tyler, who do you think? What team won the draft this year? Who's your
I
Super
think
Bowl
my
champion
winner's
for
got
next
to
year?
be the Washington Commanders. I think that this team nailed it with their first 4 picks. I mean, Jane Daniels, bias aside, I think he's
Obviously,
going to be one of the best quarterbacks in this
the next
draft.
Tom Brady.
And fantasy wise too, especially with his dual threat capabilities. You really look at the receivers, it's going to be led by Terry McLaurin and then Jahan Dotson. I think that Jahan Dotson, I pinned him as his breakout wide receiver year being last year. He didn't have that great of a year. It's got to be this year for this team to really take it to the next level. And then getting a guy like Johnny Newton, I think that's first round talent that you got in the second round. And then the third round, cornerback out of Michigan. I think that he's one of the best cover corners in this draft. Then you got the tight end out of Kansas State, who's pretty much built like a fullback. I think that Ben Sinnott out of Kansas State's a really good pick. So I got to give an A+ to the Washington Commanders. They nailed it with their first 4 picks. And, they also got Luke McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey's brother wide receiver out of Rice. So I think Washington Commanders definitely got better, especially on the offensive side of the ball and defense too.
I feel bad for the person who's playing fantasy for the first time next year. Just sees McCaffrey and hits draft like round 1, and it's Luke McCaffrey. And
should have that problem because Christian will be the number 1 overall, and Luke.
But
McCaffrey,
it's gonna happen. Somebody's gonna take him first time.
But
they're gonna draft
like, oh, I'm getting Christian McCaffrey. Oh wait, that's Luke McCaffrey.
Yeah. Wade, what would you grade the Saints draft?
Honestly, I think it was one of the better ones, probably a top 5 draft. So I'd give it an A. I thought they met all the needs, got what some people thought was the 3rd best offensive lineman in the draft. Didn't have to move up to get him. Weren't tempted by, potentially Brock Bowers slipping there. And then they ended up getting a cornerback that has first round potential. In the second
Who
round,
they-
same situation, just kind of fell in their lap. So I like it for sure. We'll have to see how these guys pan out.